guests are Olivia Olivo, excuse me, who is the principal of Glen City Elementary School. She's been with the district for quite a while. We also have another guest today. We've got Alfredo. Wait a minute. Of course, I lost everything just now. My apologies. Alfredo Valera, who is the Santa Paula Union High School District's dual language immersion and English learner teacher. So that's that. You need an education just to be able to get all that out. So Lydia, would you tell us how long you've been with Santa Paula Unified or Santa Paula School District? I think you started with them before they became unified, didn't they?
Yes, you? I did. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I started in Santa Paula Elementary Unified as an instructional assistant for the Aspire program when I was 19 years old. I was in college at the time and then became a teacher, and I taught at Blanchard and Fidel schools. Before becoming principal of McKevitt, where I was for 6 years. And I've been at my current assignment, which is principal of Glen City. This is my 3rd year here.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's great when you have a calling like education and you follow that calling, you know, so that's wonderful. And I know you're very well respected and you've been recognized several times. What's been the greatest challenge in distance learning? What have you found or can you even break it down to just the greatest challenge?
There have been many challenges, I think, but for teachers, staff members, and myself, the greatest challenge has been not being able to see our students and families in person. So much of what we do involves that daily interaction, even if it's just for me, a wave to the families as they drop off their children, or a simple hi or a smile in the hallways. So not being able to have direct contact with children has been very taxing on everybody, specifically teachers who had that daily interaction within the classroom. So I know that's been tough for everybody. There's a second close, which is also the steep learning curve that has been required for everybody. Teachers are teaching in a way that they've never imagined. The students are learning in a way that is completely different from anything they've ever known. And our parents, our families are supporting their children in ways they've never done before, while also trying to work and manage all of their personal responsibilities. So definitely the top 2 challenges that I've seen is not having that face-to-face interaction and the steep learning curve that everybody has experienced since March.
Oh my gosh, yes. Now how many students do you have there?
As of Friday, we just hit 550 students. So we are the largest elementary school in the district.
Okay, yes, you are. Yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful campus there too. Now, how are you staying connected with the families? I know that's very important, and it's more than just the teacher on the computer with the students. So how are you staying connected with the families in the unit to better, you know, the students and everybody's educational experience?
I think anybody who's ever worked with me or knows me knows that I love making connections with our students and our families. So I've tried to have different opportunities available to our families to connect. I've had several Zoom meetings with our families, both in the evening and in the morning during coffee chats, where parents have the opportunity to come ask questions. Here, I share a little bit of information specific to Glen City, but it's really important that our families hear information directly from me. I think that's so important for them just to see me, interact with me, ask questions, to remind them that I'm still here. I'm still here to support them, their students. So that is one way I'm staying connected. I've started doing something last week called connection calls. I think we're really good about communicating information via phone messages, social media, website, but I'm trying to connect more with families. So what those connections calls is I choose a couple students a day, no more than 2 to 3 students, and randomly, and I call their families. And the purpose of the phone calls is just to connect. I say hi, ask how they're doing, ask how their child is doing. Parents have been like, do you need anything? And I'm like, no, I'm just calling to say hi, offer any support. The conversations have been very interesting. So that is another way I'm trying to stay connected to the families. Also trying to stay connected to the students. You know, they get to see their teachers daily. But for me, I'm an outsider in their world now, but I don't want to be. So I've held some lunch with Dr. Olivo, lunch with the principal. And at first when I started, I thought, you know, maybe they wouldn't come. They're coming and they're loving it and we're playing games. So that is one way. And then I also sent, I'm just going to share it's a postcard, Glen City, great news from Glen City, to every single Glen City student with a personal message from me, just to let them know that I'm thinking about them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Mr. Varela can vouch for when we do have our coffee chat parent meetings. Mr. Varela, who is always peeking?
Oh yeah, the kids are all over, like kind of like, you know, getting on the parents' shoulders and kind of like, you know, can I say hi?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So staying connected is absolutely important during this time, just to let them know that we are still here thinking about them.
And you know, and it brings them so much comfort too, because everything's been so confusing, you know, and so and scary in a way. And you know, and these are the types of things that I think are so positive for the kids and positive for the families and positive even for you all, because of the fact you are maintaining that connection. So that's great. Now, what's the mascot of your school?
The Grizzly.
Okay, that's what I thought when I saw those paw prints on that card.
Yes, Glen City Grizzly.
Yes, that's very nice. Now, now, what is your focus with your current distance learning model? I mean, that's got to be unbelievable.
We have a couple different focuses. I think our initial focus was to ensure that our students have everything they need in terms of materials. To just even participate in the distance learning model. So we've distributed hundreds of Chromebooks, hotspots, curriculum, student materials and supplies, and just to make sure that we are supporting them in that way, just so that way they can begin the process of learning via the distance learning model. The second area of focus, I think, has been to make sure that our students and families, their social emotional needs are met. So making sure that they know to contact the teacher or the office and our counselor if they need any form of support, to make sure that they have as much as they can in order to be successful in the classroom, the virtual classroom. Which brings us to our last focus, and really the most important focus, which is to ensure students are logging on every single day. It is important. A school looks completely different right now, and sometimes there's confusion about what it should look like. So what we're trying to communicate to our families is that students must log on for their live instruction every single day. This is a very short time that the teacher has with them to provide the instruction and support that the children need. So that's our big message. Now that, you know, for the most part, everybody has all of the materials they need and all the support, the next step is now, okay, let's make sure our little Grizzlies are logging on.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. And are you having a pretty good, are your rates of participation pretty good?
Yeah, we have, for the most part, many of our students attending, and if there are a few students or some students who aren't logging on consistently, then the teacher definitely, you know, makes contact with the families, or I make contact with the families just to make sure that they have the supports they need to log on.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's wonderful, because that's all you've got at this point in time. Now, how have teachers and staff members been doing since you had to close your doors in March? That was a terrible shock. I mean, it wasn't even a fact of like, well, next week we're going to close the school, or tomorrow, or it was just like, that's it, school's out.
I really have to take this opportunity to commend our teachers and all of our support staff for being who they are during this pandemic. They are really taking the opportunity to be even more creative than they already were, more resourceful than they already were. And really their collaboration has strengthened because teachers are sharing, oh, I learned how to do this and I found this resource and I found that you could help students in this way. So teachers have become just phenomenal in the way that they're operating. Not that they didn't do those things before, but now, you know, that we are virtual, that has to become even stronger. So that is one, you know, it's difficult for them because they miss their students in the classroom. But that is one area. And then our support staff, they also have to be commended. Without our support staff, they are the ones that are, you know, ensuring that our school day runs as smoothly as possible and providing the supports and resources that the teachers need and that I need. So definitely giving a shout out to all Glen City teachers, all Glen City support staff, and everybody who's working hard to make this situation as I don't even want to use the word pleasant, because it's a difficult situation, but to make it as successful as it can be.
Very long, large, teachable moment, you know.
Yes.
And I know I've talked to parents and I've talked to teachers, and considering the circumstances, people are really have pulled together and are very resilient. And kids are too, you know, they are. What do you think actually though have you learned the most, or have we learned about distance learning?
I think you actually just stole my word. I was going to say that we've all learned how to be resilient. We are doing things that we never thought we were capable of, including me in this in this interview, right? This is not something that comes natural to me or that I'm really comfortable with, but I felt a calling to, you know, another way to connect with our families and our school communities. So resiliency for sure. I think we've learned that supporting one another is a must. We need each other. We need one another, and no matter what position that we are in. And I think we were reminded that we love our students. We loved seeing them daily. And so, you know, when you have something and it's never been taken away from you, you don't realize how much you enjoy that. So once our students were out of our reach, we realized, like, oh my gosh, like that they are part of who we are. So that's definitely, but you know, again, most importantly, we've learned that we still must provide strong instruction to our students. We still must provide the best opportunities possible to them, even in this distance learning model.
Well, I think everybody's doing a wonderful job, and people wouldn't go into this education if they didn't have a strong feeling towards children and their futures. And it's hard to see their futures interrupted, but I think the school district's been doing an excellent job. Now, and you've been doing an excellent job in the interview too. So
thank you.
Don't worry about that. You're doing fine. And now we're going to switch over. Now that I've told you how well you're doing, I'm going to take that away from you, and we're going to talk to Alfredo. So, Alfredo, tell me about the new dual language immersion program that began this year. I'm fascinated by that.
Yes. So,
excuse me. Tell me how long you've been with the district, and maybe a little bit about your education.
Yeah, sure. So thank you again for this opportunity. And I'm very grateful to be sharing the screen time with Dr. Olivo, because I think it would be kind of interesting to be by myself here too. So, but for sure, you know, I ever since I was younger, I remember wanting to emulate the fascinating teachers that I had. And so, you know, one thing led to another. And as I was graduating from high school, I realized that, you know, teachers had a huge impact in my life. And then they, you know, so I thought, you know, why not continue that, right? And kind of pay it forward. And so, you know, I started doing a couple of subbing jobs, et cetera, in different schools. And then I realized, okay, I really do love this. And so eventually I graduated from Manhattanville College in New York. And
How long did you say?
I'm sorry?
Did you say Manhattan College?
Manhattanville College.
Oh, Manhattan.
It's in Westchester County in New York. And because I used to live I was born and raised in New Jersey. Yeah. And so, I went to Manhattanville College. I graduated with my bachelor's and my master's in teaching from there. Taught in New Jersey for 12 years, Spanish, and then moved over to California, and eventually I landed in Santa Paula, and this is now my 4th year here. My first 3 years were in the high school as a Spanish teacher, specifically for heritage language learners, those that grew up speaking Spanish, and then it's basically like a Spanish language arts class. And so and then here in California, I got another master's in administration through National University, and so that's where I'm at right now. And I love what I do. And so I was given this opportunity to become a ELD and DLI TOSA for the district. Again, going back to your question, dual language program, it was something that was sorely needed in our district. And I believe our Deputy Superintendent, Chrissy Shefferly, really, saw that calling as well, and finally found the opportunity to get this, going. And
How long ago?
I'm sorry.
How long ago was that they got the program going?
So last year we did a kind of all stakeholders several meetings where we met with administrators from different schools, parents, teachers, and and board members too. Board members were there too, and we were just basically trying to see, should we not, is it really good for us right now? And overwhelmingly everyone said, of course it is. And it's a program that really helps. It's like an equalizer when it comes to academic success for our students, and also social, emotional as well. And it's really just an example of making sure that our students don't lose their first language, right? That they grew up with speaking. And so, if you don't mind, I'd like to read our vision statement.
Sure.
And so it says here, the Santa Paula Unified School District Dual Language Immersion Program provides an exemplary multilingual, multiliterate, and multicultural learning environment in which all students achieve high linguistic and academic proficiency in world languages while developing sociocultural competency in order to contribute to and benefit from a diverse global society. Okay. So, you can't get better than that. And by the way, Dr. Olivo, all of us were a part of this. We all tried our best to write one that really, we were going to stick to, and this is where we're at right now.
And if I can add, Peggy, even during the pandemic, we knew that we still had to move forward with the program. So this is the first year. Dual language immersion just started in August here at Glen City in our transitional kinder class. So like Alfredo said, last year was a planning year, and we determined, do we even move forward with this program in the state that we are in, and we decided that we were going to. So to clarify, it is the very first year. We are 2 months in, and our little students in TK, our little 4-year-olds are already speaking in Spanish. So it's wonderful to see.
And what exactly does dual immersion mean? What is the structure of the program?
Yes, good question. So the structure is, there's different models. Basically there is, the goals for the program are that students will achieve bilingualism and biliteracy, high academic achievement in Spanish and English, and, do well with socio-cultural competence. We are creating a class. We're trying to make sure that every class has a classroom composition of a third Spanish speakers only, a third of the class being somewhat bilingual, that they know both, right? And then the other third is English only students, right? So that way there's a good, mix of students so that they could also help each other out, throughout different activities, etc.
Dual version, because you've got these two different language, as it were, because kids are kids, and it's just a way. And I'm sure that's a wonderful way for them to really start communicating with each other too, especially since you have the ones that are bilingual. So
Yes.
I mean, that's a wonderful way to mix it up, as it were.
Yes. And so also part of our structure is the type of linguistic model in terms of what the teachers, the language the teachers use as they teach the content. And so between TK and first grade, we have what's called the 90-10 model. So that means 90% is spoken in Spanish and 10% would be in English. And so starting in second grade, we'd have, the amount of Spanish drop down to 80%, and then the level of English up to 20%. And, year after year up until fifth grade, that's when everything kind of levels out with 50% English and 50% Spanish.
Sure. So at this point, you figure everybody's pretty well bilingual that's been in the program.
Right. And that's the idea. And so, and when I say 50%, it would be, we would have to choose, let's say there's 6 periods in a day, 3 of those periods would be in English, 3 of the other, the other 3 periods would be in Spanish. So that's the idea. And
kids, when the younger they are, the better they do pick up a foreign language.
That's right. And it's just like us, right? When we learned English, we didn't have a book open and, us writing notes, we were just listening. We were just listening to our parents talking to us. And that's really how it starts.
Absolutely. It sounds like. Now, are there other districts in the county that have this program?
Yes. So there is, I believe one of the, if I'm not mistaken, I know it's Ventura, the city of Ventura, as well as Oxnard.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so my daughter attends a dual immersion program. She is a junior now in high school, but she started in kindergarten as well. So I definitely see the benefits when students get older.
And what benefits do they get from the program?
They are countless. I know firsthand because I'm not fluent I don't speak Spanish fluently. I guess Alfredo would call me a receptive bilingual. So when somebody speaks to me in Spanish, I can understand, but to produce the language back is very difficult for me, which happens with a lot of our Spanish speaking students, right? They can understand in English, but when it comes time for them to produce the language, it becomes more difficult. So I think giving them this gift, this opportunity to learn a second language will benefit them in their entire life in every different aspect of it. So that's just my personal take on it.
Yeah, and I would add to that too. I've got some actual statistics here that I'd like to say or share with everyone. But me personally too, it's I've always taught my students that being a bilingual person is like having a superpower, right? I'm very big into hero things, etc., Avengers, X-Men, etc. But in my case, truly being able to help other people that, for whatever reason, need help linguistically. They don't know how to, how to say something, how to ask for something in English, and if they do know Spanish, it's just a perfect way to be that that mediator between both. And so I've always shared with them that that's one of the biggest and most powerful results and outcomes, right, of being or wanting to become bilingual. But just to name a few, dual language students have positive perceptions of self and academic competence, as well as they are more likely to participate in intergenerational family relationships, right, as well as accepting, they're becoming more accepting towards students who differ from them in language and cultural backgrounds. and physical characteristics. And lastly, develop multicultural skills that help them understand others. And that is so true. And I say that because, you know, I've also been fortunate enough with one school in New Jersey where I worked, there was a cultural exchange program. And there I was able to exchange, you know, provide this program to German students as well as Czech Republic, students in Czech Republic. And so did I know those languages? Absolutely not. But was I more receptive to, you know, not afraid to, you know, try to understand where they're coming from? Of course. You know, yeah, so sorry, one more time.
I was saying that's wonderful, and that's a wonderful benefit of the program is making people. It almost sounds like it makes them more tolerant and less suspicious. So
That's right.
now, you know, I want to end now with as far as what do you want the Glen City families to know? I mean, in time, what would you like them to know?
I would like our Glen City families to stay Glen City strong. You can't see it, but that's what my shirt says. I want them to know that we miss them very much. We want them to stay safe and healthy. We want our Glen City families to know that we cannot wait for the day that we can see you all in person and interact when it's safe to do so. And we can't wait to see everybody's smiles back here at Glen City. And if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out, contact the office, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
No, that's wonderful. Well, I want to thank both of you so much for joining us today, and come back. You know, we do this on a regular basis. So, and you both did a wonderful job, and we're wonderful illuminating guests. What can I say? And I appreciate it very much. And
Thank you so
you.
much.
Peggy Kelly, and I'm with the Mighty Santa Paula Times, and this is the Education Update. And today we had Dr. Lydia Olivo, and also we had Alfredo Villara, and we had wonderful discussion centered around our kids, which are our most important thing here in Santa Paula. So once again, thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend, and stay COVID safe. Bye.